mythic brawler Mina is finally here, so today I'll be showing you a full guide on how to use her. Now I'll be covering Mina's mechanics and how she works, the best build that you need to use for Mina, and the best game modes for this broken brawler as well. So stay tuned, okay? Also make sure to like and subscribe because I'm on my way to 200,000 subscribers, so subscribe or you will turn into a Mina tornado. Now, Mina is the newest mythic brawler in the game, and she's part of Ollie's trio thing. Bro, there's so many trios in this game, I honestly lost track. Now, Mina is a damage dealer brawler, and she has a whopping total of 8,200 health at the max level. Her main attack is actually very different compared to other brawlers. She pretty much has 3 different main attacks. Let me explain how this works. Now, Mina can pretty much cycle through 3 of her range attacks, but she has a certain time period to do this. If she doesn't cycle through all 3 of the attacks within the timer, then the combo would end up breaking and she would have to start at the first attack again. Now, the first attack is a long range and narrow attack, which does a total of 1,600 damage. The second attack is a medium range and medium width attack, and it does a total of 2,800 damage. And finally, we have the third attack, which is a short range and wide attack, and this attack itself does 4,400 damage, dude. 4,400 damage. So you can actually see a timer thing under your ammo, and this shows how much time you exactly have to hit your next attack. Now, if you manage to hit all 3 of your attacks, you do a total of 8,800 damage, which is completely broken, dude. And for reference, this is me hitting all 3 attacks, and I did a total of 8,800 damage on the robot. That is too much damage, bro. And don't even get me started with Mina's super. Her super pretty much throws a fat tornado onto the enemy, and it makes the enemy go flying in the air. And this is a long range super, so you can easily snipe this onto your enemy. And of course, it does a crazy 2,000 damage, bro. And if you didn't know, you can actually make this super 10 times more broken, and that's if you use this broken build for Mina, which I'll be breaking down later in the video. Now, overall, I think that Mina's mechanics are very unique, and she's definitely an S tier brawler. The attack mechanics are very interesting, and I don't think that any other brawler has these attack combo things. How is that fair, bro? And yeah, if you've made it this far into the video, comment your favorite thing about Mina. Alright, now that you know how Mina works and her crazy, insane, broken mechanics, here is a full breakdown of her gadgets and star powers. I'll also be covering the best build and game modes for her later in the video, so make sure to watch until the end, okay? Now, Mina's first gadget, Windmill, is sort of similar to Gale's Twister gadget. I mean, the mechanics aren't really that similar, but they both look like giant tornadoes. But yeah, her Windmill gadget pretty much creates a huge ball of wind which blocks projectiles for a total of 3 seconds. And this gadget has an 18-second cooldown. So pretty much, if I put this gadget down and stand behind it, and some enemy tries attacking me, this giant wind ball thing will deflect all attacks and it'll sort of be a shield for me, and enemies cannot shoot through it. This is honestly a solid gadget if you're getting cooked by your enemies and need some time to regenerate your health. Mina's second gadget, Kashewz, is a pretty straightforward and broken gadget. It pretty much recharges Mina's super instantly if she manages to hit an enemy with her super. So if I activate this gadget, for example, and use my super and hit an enemy, my super would instantly recharge, so I can easily use it again. And this gadget also has an 18-second cooldown. Now, you obviously can't spam recharge your super, so this only works once every time you activate the gadget. Imagine if you could spam recharge your super during this gadget. Alright, Mina's first star power is Zum Zum Zum. Bro, what are these names? I'm actually done. But yeah, this star power is pretty interesting. On Mina's third combo attack, she ends up healing for 50% of damage done when this star power is equipped. Now, if you're comboing your attack and you're going aggro into your enemies, you're obviously going to end up taking a good amount of damage. So this star power will be extremely helpful for healing up during those aggressive battles. Now, Mina's second star power, Blown Away, just makes her super 10 times more broken. The star power pretty much roots enemies on the spot for a solid 1 second. Now, you're probably wondering, what does bro mean by rooting enemies? Well, this right here is what I mean. The enemy is literally stuck for a solid second, so you can take advantage and deal some crazy damage. But yeah, now that you know everything about Mina, including how her gadgets and star powers work, it is now time for me to show you the greatest Mina build that you can use. And let me tell you something, you are not ready for this build, okay? But yeah, starting off with the good old gadget, I decided to equip the Kashewz gadget. Now, this gadget is insane because once I use my super and it ends up hitting, I instantly recharge my super again. Each super hit does 2,000 damage, so if I hit it twice, that's an easy 4,000 damage just like that, dude. Now, moving on to the star power, I decided to choose the Blown Away star power. Now, let me tell you something about the star power, dude. Why does it exist? This star power pairs so perfectly with this gadget, you don't understand, bro. Now, as you already know, if you use the star power, the enemy gets stuck for a solid 1 second. So if you have the star power equipped, activate the Kashewz gadget, and you end up hitting your super, you can freeze your enemy for 1 second and deal some crazy damage. But there's a twist. Because your super instantly recharges from the gadget, you can literally use it again instantly, and the enemy is going to be frozen for 1 second again. This is extremely broken in 3v3 game mode modes because you can spam your super twice, freeze your enemies, and then you and your teammates can whack them out of existence. Also, I forgot to mention this, but this super can pierce through enemies, so you're able to hit multiple enemies with one super, dude. On top of that, you're also doing 2,000 damage onto your enemies, which is a solid bonus. But yeah, onto the first gear, I decided to go for the classic shield gear. Now, Mina does have 8,200 health, which is pretty solid, but you're going to be in aggressive battles with your enemies sometimes if you're taking advantage of her combo attack, because you literally have to go close range if you want to fully take advantage of her attack combos. And because of this, you're going to be taking a significant amount of damage against enemies. This is why the shield gear is extremely helpful. It basically gives Mina an extra 900 health, and that puts her at 9,100 health. She's literally a tank, bro. But yeah, for the second gear, I decided to use the health gear, and it is for the exact same reason. If you're playing Mina, you're going to be taking a significant amount of damage, especially in the close range, so the health gear would be extremely helpful for those situations because you can recover your health 50% more effectively. But yeah, now that you know the best possible build for Mina, it is extremely important for you to know how good Mina is in every main game mode. Now, I decided to test her out and push her trophies in the most played game modes, and here are my thoughts for each of those game modes. Alright, starting off with the GOAT of game modes, Brawl Ball. I found Mina extremely strong and good in this game mode. I mean, I honestly have to give credit to this insane Mina build. This is probably one of the greatest gadget and star power combos I've ever used. All you literally do is activate the gadget, hit your super twice onto your enemies, and they're gonna be stuck for a solid second. Then your teammates can whack your enemies out of existence, and you can easily score on these El Primuses, okay? Now, some Brawl Ball maps have a bunch of bushes and walls. Like this one right here has a bunch of bushes, for example. So you can use these obstacles to your advantage if you're against some crazy insane long range snipers, for example. Mina's attack also has a mini dash, so if your enemies are somehow distracted behind you, you can just dash with the ball and easily score a goal. Also, if there's a bunch of enemies blocking the goal, just use your super on them and they'll be in the air for a solid second. Then you or your teammates can literally go under them and easily get a goal. Now, the next game mode is Bounty, and honestly, Mina isn't too bad in this game mode. Now, I'm personally not a fan of Bounty, and after using Mina in this game mode, it's just too slow, dude. Some players are using marksman brawlers sometimes, so you literally have to play the slow game and just camp behind walls. So if you're playing Bounty with Mina, you're gonna be playing one match for a good 10 years, bro. Now, with that being said, Mina is still a pretty solid pick in Bounty. Her first attack is extremely helpful because of the long range, but if you're still far from your enemy after the first attack, you unfortunately won't be able to hit your second and third attack. So in that case, you'll have to wait for your attack to reset and just spam your first attack. But listen, once you charge your super, it is game over. Literally just activate your gadget, use your super, and you get the point. Now, I tested out Mina in Hot Zone, and I was actually surprised with the results. She's actually a pretty good pick for Hot Zone, dude. Now, I do have to admit that Mina can be countered sometimes by brawlers like Ollie, for example, or even Lou, but that doesn't mean that she's a bad brawler. She's actually insane in Hot Zone. If you're in situations where the entire enemy team is camping on the Hot Zone point, literally just use your super and gadget, and it is over, dude. Your teammates will be doing damage alongside with you. I hope so. So you'll easily be able to team wipe your enemies if you manage to hit your super combo. I am telling you, bro, this star power and gadget combo is a huge reason why Mina is in the meta right now. Mina is also good at controlling the hot zone point. If enemies come close up to you on the point, you can easily use your attack combo because it's close range. And if you manage to hit all of your attack combos, that is over 8,000 damage right there, bro. Now, after playing Mina in Knockout, I honestly had some mixed feelings. Now, there were times where I was playing against mid-range to close-range brawlers, and those were the times where I was cooking with Mina and getting a bunch of wins. But the moment I went against these long-range marksman sweats, that is where everything changed. These marksmen can easily whack Mina out of existence from the long range, and as you already know, if you get eliminated in Knockout, you have to spend the rest of the round spectating. Now, with that being said, Mina is extremely solid in Knockout only when you're against mid-range to close-range brawlers, but if you face snipers, then there's a good chance that you might get whacked out of existence, especially if you're playing in open maps with limited to no walls. Knockout is also a game mode where players often choose marksman brawlers, mainly because of their damage output. So if you decide to take Mina into Knockout, be careful with these broken marksmen, dude. After playing Mina in Heist, I gotta say that she's a pretty solid pick in this game mode. Mina's combo attack allows her to do a lot of damage on the save, so if she manages to easily reach the Heist save, the damage output is just crazy, dude. Mina also dashes slightly when she attacks, so she's technically faster than some brawlers. You can use this to your advantage and quickly dash to the Heist save. Now, as for countering enemies in Heist, it is the same drill, dude. Use this broken Mina build, activate the gadget, use the super, and you get the point, okay? But overall, Heist is an extremely solid game mode for Mina if you're trying to trophy push or even pick a brawler in rank. Alright, the next game mode is Gem Grab, and Mina is also a solid pick in this game mode. Now, I wouldn't recommend being a gem carrier as Mina. Let me explain why. Now, if you want to hit your combo attacks and do as much damage as possible with Mina, you're gonna have to go aggro and push into your enemies. Now, if you for some reason have 8 gems with you and you push into your enemies, there's a really good chance that you might get 3v1, dude. Instead, you should let another teammate become the gem carrier. That way you can deal the most damage as possible without worrying about losing any gems. As long as you use this broken Mina build, you're honestly chilling in Gem Grab, and it's a solid game mode for Mina. And finally, we have the legendary Solo Showdown gaming. After using Mina in Solo Showdown, I've come to the conclusion that she's absolute trash. Nah, I'm joking. She's actually a really good brawler in this game mode. Now, the reason she's good in Solo Showdown is because of her insane damage output if you manage to hit all the combo attacks. Now, the only thing that you need to watch out for when playing Solo Showdown with Mina are marksman brawlers. Because like I mentioned before, their damage output is insane from the long range, so they can easily whack you out of existence. Solo Showdown does also have some teamers sometimes, so you have to look out for that as well, because these teamers, man, they will whack you out of existence, okay? But other than that, Mina is a pretty solid brawler in Solo Showdown. But yeah, if you enjoyed this video, click on this video to see a full guide on how to use Trunk in Brawl Stars.